Ciao ragazzi, whoever you are, whatever time it is in the world, thank you to the first 21 people who clicked that video. I remember saying that with the number 2 or 3. It's looking good, guys. Big up to everybody in the chat and big up to my guest and newest member of the Inter Worldwide gang, Michele. Tell us a little bit about yourself, but first of all, welcome to Inter Worldwide. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you on the channel, brother.
Thanks, man. Nothing like some good old English language Inter content for the entire world outside of Italy. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much, bro. You have the floor for a minute or so. Why don't you tell everybody where you're from, how you grew up in the world of culture, what was your sort of early day attachment to the sport, and how you became an Inter fan as well, my brother?
You're going to have to cut me off on this one because at least in my head, it's a good story. So my dad and my mom are Italian immigrants to New York City, where I was born and raised. And my dad is an Inter obsessive. He was born in 1954. So Inter wins 2 European Cups in the middle of the 60s when he's a kid, La Grande Inter. So he becomes a fan then. When my fandom starts when my mom is pregnant with me. My dad would get in close to her belly and read the lineups before everything starts. So that's where the disease, the sickness starts. And then, following Inter from outside of Italy, as a lot of people who are of a certain age, listening. No, during the 90s, it was tough. A lot of the time it was just, refreshing live Gazzetta on the internet. I remember watching Giuliano take down Ronaldo on like a screen about this big in an Italian TV station here in New York. And so now we're spoiled with streaming.
Yeah,
but for Inter, for me, is a religion, and San Siro is my church.
I think you and almost everybody here right now, myself included, it's been a real turbulent time since winning the Scudetto. And just before we do jump into some talk about Beppe Marotta working his magic for us, and obviously the 2 signings that have come in, which are basically cushioning the blow of losing 2 of our best players. I just wanted to make sure to share and just remind people that we are still doing a merch giveaway. It's going to be drawn next week. So all you need to do to win something that looks very similar, if not the same as this, such as t-shirts, jumpers, all that fancy stuff, just make sure that you go to our Twitter and retweet this. I'm about to pin it at the top of our Twitter, and I will put a link in the description. You have to be in it to win it, and we are looking forward to giving away some of our merch after what has been a really, really good few months for Inter Worldwide. All right, into the fun stuff. Marotta'S magic, waving his magic wand, Michele. So let's just go to a few people in the chat before I forget what's going on. John, Scudetto post Lukaku. This team is full of winners. Bruv, you said it. Let's go get it. Like, as Inter fans, bro, Michele, I don't know about you. Like, I'm a very reactionary sort of fan, and I'm never going to change. I can't mature in this department no matter how much I try. So the day Lukaku was sold, I was furious. I was livid. But after one sleep, I woke up and I'm like, hold on. You haven't even tried to make a pros and cons list about this yet. And I can tell you right now, the pros are already starting to fly in. So I'll guess while I pull up some comments, and I just love the chat. It's buzzing. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to apologize. I'm not going to be able to get all these up today, man. Michele, what were your reactions to the Lukaku sale and the Hakimi sale, bro? And just basically your overall reaction to winning a Scudetto and then Suning having no choice but to dismantle a winning side, from manager to technical staff, Oriali, and players on deck?
Well, listen, the stoic and level-headed Inter fans, I think, are very few and far between. I think it's our fan base, just because of the nature of the squad and its history. We're prone to be a very emotional group. So I totally understand the reactionary nature of your response to the Lukaku sale. Listen, we knew going into we got to enjoy the Scudetto for about 15 seconds before we had to start worrying as usual. We were told that the transfer market going out had to reach whatever that threshold of 70, 80 was that we were told at the beginning. And once the offer from PSG came in for Hakimi, we thought that the math would be Hakimi 70 out. That pretty much, maybe with one or two other small sales, would cover what we needed to make up because of all the losses that Inter has faced due to COVID and due to, Suning being unable to inject new capital into the team because of the situation in China with the government not wanting companies to really move a lot of capital outside of the country.
Yeah. Well
Then,
said,
then our hopes for the Mercato coming in were probably really limited. My hopes were limited because we knew that we didn't really have many funds available. And so we were, the moves we were hoping to make were loans with options to buy, free transfers, which is, the Marotta'S special. But the Lukaku news, the Hakimi sale was painful, especially when I think it was during the last game of the season. He pointed to the crest and he said, "I'm staying here." And then, off he went. The Lukaku sale was really out of left field as far as I'm concerned. He said he was happy at Inter. And, even if we didn't have the funds to make big moves, at least we had, in my opinion, the best striker in the world right now. The circumstances that brought on the Lukaku sale, I think, are still a little bit murky, right? Was any player on Inter really available for sale? Everybody had a price tag. Is that why Conte left? That's rumors. Certainly it didn't seem like Lukaku was going to leave at the beginning of the Mercato, and now he's gone. Who's to blame? Is how much blame does Lukaku hold versus Suning versus Chelsea? I think it's hard to say. It's hard to fault a squad that's a club that's in financial turmoil to say no to 115 million euro. It's hard to fault a guy for wanting to double his salary, but it doesn't hurt any less.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I think it was really interesting because the whole time in the offseason, if you thought there was one disloyal player that didn't want to stay, you would have said Lautaro 10 times out of 10. And now he's the one that looks like he's likely to pen a contract extension. So I don't really care what order we talk about the stuff in this episode. Let's just digress right into that. And big up to everybody in the chat. I've been putting your comments up on the stream. Kenny, good to see you again. What up, Snis? Dominico from Down Under, Reza Vorian, Juicy, Franco, Brian, Akil, my brother, Matteo, Sal, Michael, John, all the regulars. Thank you for tuning in. The comments will keep flying on and the conversation will continue. Drop the topics that you want us to discuss and we'll start getting some images up on the screen soon. Lautaro, bro, you think he pens an extension? And if you do, how much do you think he can elevate to the next level this season? Because mentally he must be thinking right now, I've got a real chance here. I've got a real chance to step up from that second striker with a lot of potential to be the next big thing in the world to being the shit right here, right now for the champions of Italy.
Yeah, I think Lautaro understands now that it's only natural that when the most high-profile player on the team leaves and he plays the same position as you and you've got to step in, I think that's an opportunity that he's probably got to relish at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if behind the scenes there's a lot of Il Capitano Zanetti working the Argentinian connection to try and get, to really impress upon Lautaro how he can really become a bandiera of this team moving forward. I feel, whenever it comes to Argentinian players, I feel really good having Zanetti there as VP. Whether Lautaro has a volatile sort of personality, right? When he's on, and when he's off, he gets he gets frustrated, he gets quite angry on the pitch, and now the team is going to be leaning on him for goals. Lukaku had whatever it was, like 24 goals that's a lot of goals to have to make up, and hopefully Lautaro is up to the challenge.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's digress into Dumfries because that's what everybody's talking about in the chat right now. We've made another signing to replace Hakimi. Denzel Dumfries plays right back, obviously. Is more of an attacking right back, likes to play some small, short passes, but he is quite solid at the back. His acceleration and agility is something that worries me. However, once he does get acceleration, he can be pretty hard to stop, to be honest. Was a really good performer in Euro 2020/2021, where he scored his first goal for the Netherlands. He scored the winning goal against Ukraine, and then he scored a goal as well against Austria. He's played 89 times for PSV Eindhoven, the Dutch club, and has scored 13 goals in the process. I have never seen the guy play a live game of football, just being with my commitments. I mean, how am I supposed to squeeze in the Eredivisie as much as I'd like to? But after seeing, as many compilations as possible, and I know it's a cliche to say you watch compilations, but how else are you going to see how he plays, man? And you don't just focus on the good things. You make sure you see the mistakes as well. Shout out to my boy Uncle Sharma for putting together a very objective compilation of Denzel Dumfries on Twitter. What are your thoughts on the gentleman, man? Because I, for one, like I always say, I'm ready to welcome him to Inter with open arms, as we should with every single signing. I think as far as replacing Achraf Hakimi goes, we could have done a lot worse, bro. A lot worse. What are you saying?
A couple of things. I want to take a quick step back first to put into context, because I think really there's a lot of sort of anger and pain among the Inter fan base at what could have been and what we were really robbed of. With the Hakimi sale and with Lukaku leaving, I remember, if you look at Inter into the transfer window of Inter in 2009, after winning, I think it was at that point 4 Scudetti in a row. After winning 4 Scudetti in a row, Inter brought in Milito, brought in Eto'o in the Ibrahimovic swap, brought in Sneijder, brought in Thiago Motta, and brought in Lucio, and brought in Pandev. That is half the squad that went on to win the Champions League. I think if that same dynamic had existed this time around as well, that we were taking an additive approach to the squad from last year and not this subtractive approach, I think Inter and its fans were really robbed of what could have been a team that was in position to dominate not only in Italy for the coming years, but potentially in Europe as well. I think you said it right off the bat, the thing with Dumfries. I mean, when the name came up, of course, all the Inter fans started obsessing about Dumfries. Is he coming? We got to get him. He's the best replacement to Hakimi. I want to be very honest with everybody here. I certainly did not have Dumfries on my radar before the Euro. This wasn't a guy that I was like, oh my gosh, he's an electrifying player. I had never heard of his name. I had no idea who he was, and I follow plenty of football. I follow plenty of Serie A, and one of my best friends is Dutch and is an Ajax fan, and would tell me Dumfries is like you said, is the best we could have done, but doesn't the shoes that Hakimi left are enormous. What I know about Dumfries is what we all know about Dumfries, is what we see in the compilations and what we read. Very athletic guy. I'm almost 1.90 meters in height. Has some weight to him. Good physicality. Good in the offensive during offensive possession. Maybe some defensive skills that need to be worked on, especially in Serie A. But I think you said it. I think it's the best we could have hoped for, given the situation that Inter is in right now.
Yeah, very, very well put, man. We can't be gassing up every player like this, man. Look what's happened with so many of our players, especially right backs, right wing sides. We're cursed in that position. Ashraf Hakimi was the breath of fresh air, but you take into account all of them. I'm not even going to mention them because I have in the past. Lautaro is the most recent one. He's still there. He even tweeted the other day that he's at 100% fitness. So I guess the saving grace I can say with this signing, that not only is it cheap at a decent price, there is going to be a lot of competition out there with Darmian as well. So there are going to be players that are looking to play themselves into position. And if that can't squeeze an extra 10 to 15% out of these players, then I don't know what will. I really don't. So I do have hopes that Denzel Dumfries can do well, but I'm going to reserve pretty much everything until I start seeing him taking the pitch. Let's go put some more. Go for it, Michele. Did you want to elaborate on that?
I mean, how many times there's always so many signings after the Euros or after a World Cup, a player that maybe didn't have a very high profile, has a great tournament, and then has a high profile transfer and then ends up not living up to expectations. 2008, Quaresma had a great, had a solid Euro. He goes over to Inter, and we all know how that ended up. The La Trivela. I have high hopes, as we Inter fans always have. I think the situation on the wings this year is the one silver lining is that I think we have greater depth on the wings, if less quality, because whereas Darmian was sort of tasked to fill in on both the right and left, we now have Di Marco and Perisic on the left. We have Dumfries and Darmian on the right. Ashley Young, I think, was serviceable, but certainly there were moments when his age showed and put limitations on what he was capable of doing. So if Inzaghi can really get the best out of these four guys on the battery, on the wings, I think there's some good potential there. But certainly there's only one Hakimi, and he's irreplaceable.
100%. Big up to the 54 people that are in here right now watching the video. You need to do me a favor, like and subscribe. If you're on Twitter, please retweet it, share it around Facebook as well. A few comments coming in. Turn it, though, bro. I'm so sorry, man. We actually can't turn super chats on. I won't explain it in depth, but if you do want to show your support, bro, go and subscribe to Football Worldwide, our new platform. Enter the competition for our merchandise, or if you're really feeling generous, head to our online store and buy a piece of Inter Worldwide merchandise. My brother, thank you for your support, and the fact that you're just tuning in is enough for me. What else we got? What up, Indro Hardy? King Darian's here in the chat as well. Some regulars are around. Ahmed Ayman says Vashaliko. That was a bad one, bro. That was a bit of a miss, just injury-wise. Indro Hardy says Dumfries love to attack the box. He can be our Gosens. With Hakan, DiMarco, Inter's attack is going to be... Yeah, bro. We have a versatile direction coming into the box. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because I've said it before, Michele, we're going to look a lot less predictable this season because 2 years under Conte... Going into it next season with the same manager and lineup, we would have pissed the league again. I have no doubt because our quality just would have been too much. But don't forget, we won a lot of our games last season in the last 5 to 10 minutes. There was a lot of the time where we were still playing average performances and our sheer quality of large, expensive purchases got us over the line. So I'm looking forward to developing this new unpredictable tactical identity over Inzaghi. I reckon we can put some teams on the absolute arse this season, bro. What are you saying to that?
I think so. Look, the core of the creativity of the squad is still there. Hakimi is certainly a loss, but the middle of that infield, Barella and Brozovic, that's intact. Çalhanoğlu has looked great in preseason as a replacement for Eriksen. And don't forget, the back three is still the same. And a lot of the creativity starts as well with Bastoni and the good looks, that the great vision that he has. The issue, I think, is going to be in the finishing. Do we have the skill and talent on this team that what were supporting cast players in terms of putting the ball in the net? Can they step up and become goal scorers? That's the big question mark, I think. And I think Dzeko actually is obviously nothing like Lukaku. Lukaku's in his prime. Dzeko is sort of in the twilight of his career. The thing I like about Dzeko is that he's a very efficient player. He's not a flashy player, but when he has the ball in dangerous areas, he knows what to do with it. I hope that this year is Barella takes a big step in terms of his finishing. I think that's the last bit of his game. Barella obviously is a world-class player. He's the little engine that could there in the middle of the pitch for Inter. The heart, the legs, and he had some incredible goals for us last year. If he can put in a couple of more, if Brozovic can step up and net a few, if Çalhanoğlu can really take that next step in his performance, I think we might. I think all of this anxiety and distress that we're in now, post Lukaku and Hakimi sales next May, we might be looking back on this with another Scudetto on our chest, with a second star on the jersey, and saying, what were we worrying about?
100. Well said, bro. Fresh looking jersey on Denzel Dumfries. I like it better without the ugly looking sponsor, though. I got to give a couple of shout outs in the comments that I saw coming, because we've got a couple of new people. Bolter from Bosnia. You must be cheering. Bosnian hitman Dzeko incoming. And we've got Bamia Belle. I'm so sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Watching live from Nairobi, Kenya. Bro, that puts a big smile on my dial. Thank you so much for tuning in. Artie says, I live in the Netherlands and I saw many comments from PSV fans. They mostly say that he's limited but works really hard. For me personally, I think tactical adjustment from the Eredivisie to Serie A is very, very tough. It's a different league altogether. I think that's where he might fall short. I think, from what I've seen, he can defend, he can play well with the ball. But in terms of spatial awareness and just knowing exactly where to be in the Serie A, I think he might struggle a little bit there, but I remain to be corrected. Razor Avodian says DiMarco will definitely start over Perisic. I think Darmian will start first and slowly integrate Dumfries. That's probably the most logical shout of the season for the wingbacks, in my opinion. What's going on? Ragazzo Italiano, Dumfries, Nandez, Dzeko, not bad replacements. Hey, bro, Marotta'S doing, at least he's working, bro. At least he's working. And like Michele, I've said it before and I'll say it again. All the rival fans that are coming at us, stop acting like you've made 3 or 4 world-class signings. All we've done is narrow the gap due to no merit of your own. So that's all. That's all I've got to say.
In Marotta, we trust. He is a magician. I think Agnelli getting in a tiff with him at Juve and losing him was one of the biggest mistakes of Juve in the past 10 years. He's the only thing that gives me any sort of reassurance right now. With a couple of holes still to fill, I am excited to see what he can do in terms of bringing in another striker. He's look at that guy.
He's the man, bro. He's the absolute man.
He's a genius. He's an evil genius. But at least he's doing his work for the good guys this time around.
Yeah, 100%. Good morning from Australia. Another Aussie in here as well. Marotta'S moving. He always has moved. He's just been that sort of guy. I mean, I remember watching him make the sort of signings at Juve, and I'm like, man, he's really doing well with their books, despite how high the salary was. But yeah, he's just a G. Big shout out to our friend Shivels for this very funny tweet. But there he is. There he is, drunk, working his magic, doing whatever he needs to do. It's not the last one either. I still reckon we get a Nandez or another forward. So let's digress into that conversation right now, man. There's two big names in the headlines at the moment. The Zapata thing has fizzled out, as I knew it would. I just did not see Tammy Abraham going from the Premier League to Atalanta. What kind of a move is that? For 40 million? Is that the sort of thing Atalanta's going to risk on? That did not seem Atalanta and Gasperini to me. Go and splash 40 million over on a Premier League player. It doesn't systematically play into Atalanta's model, in my opinion, at all. Zapata, in my opinion, stays. and it's going to be a Correa or Insigne investment, and Lautaro ends up being the prime striker / number 9. Out of the two, do you think any of these rumors actually have any merit? And if they do, which one do you prefer, mate?
I hope they have merit. Correa, the only thing that gives me positive sensations about Correa is the fact that Inzaghi wants him. Again, there's 24 goals to make up for with Lukaku's departure, and has Correa proven that he can be that guy? I don't know that Correa has gone into double digits ever in his career. I might be wrong, but it's certainly. I think his maximum output at Lazio has been 9. This would be a guy that would have to take that jump. He's not somebody that's coming in as a fully formed player, as somebody who's already firing on all cylinders. Correa would be a gamble, I think, because like I said, he would have to improve on his output from over the course of his career, and of course, there's nothing certain there. Insigne, I think, is a really intriguing option because with the departure of Lukaku, who beyond being a finisher was actually I think a very strong stabilizing force on the squad, in the locker room, bringing in somebody like Insigne, 30 years old, still very much in the, if not in the prime, close to the prime of his career, fresh off a Euro victory in which he played really, really well, had a spectacular goal during the Euro. That's quite frankly, I would lean more towards Insigne right now than Correa if it was up to me. Correa, I think, is an unproven quantity. I think that what we need right now is our stabilizing forces on this team. That's been, it's been a very up and down summer for Inter, and somebody with the experience, with the years under his belt that Insigne has. If he can come in for a price around 20-25 million, it's a safer bet. It has Insigne, it has a higher floor and a lower ceiling than Correa. Correa certainly has, I think, especially because of his age, has a higher ceiling for Inter, but I think the floor for Correa is potentially really low. Again, 9 goals at his maximum output. So is that the guy that's going to make the difference for Inter? Inzaghi seems to think so. From where I'm sitting here, I'm not positive.
I think in a better team with some better players and midfielders around him, he can maybe get himself into more goal scoring opportunities. I think his goal scoring and finishing is the thing we're all worrying about. Because, there were still moments last season where Lautaro did frustrate, but Lautaro is a hungry pit bull like striker. He's going to fight until the 94th, 95th minute to score. He still had the most goals last season without penalties, I think, or maybe Ciro Immobile just clipped into that at the end, or Ronaldo. But I still think I have full faith in Lautaro, and if he's ready to pen a new contract, then I'm all for either one of the two to come in and support him, because Insigne's experience, even Correa's experience, he's got some Serie A experience under his belt. He'll be playing in it with a familiar manager. And hey, at the end of the day, we've all seen the photographs of him in an Inter jacket with Zanetti at a young age. It's always important, and you always welcome Interistas to the club. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for your amazingly kind comments. I'm so happy I haven't been able to call them out individually one by one, but I've tried to get them all up on the screen. I think this is easily the most comments we've ever had on a live stream, so it's absolutely fantastic. Keep them coming in. Eden Dzeko is in. I know I think we touched on it once, scattered around this conversation, but let's just talk a little bit more about Dzeko, because very experienced striker, fantastic statistics, amazing career at Manchester City, fantastic hitman, leader / captain, and overall role model at Roma. Falls out with Fonseca last season. Fonseca quickly realizes, holy shit, I can't keep this guy out of the team. This guy basically runs the team. And then with a good support behind him, still plays really well. You know, with the likes of Zaniolo, Pellegrini supporting him behind him, he always had decent support. I think he's going to have great support. Now, he's not there to start every single game, my bro, but what are your thoughts on Dzeko more in depth, and what do you think he's going to bring to Inter this season? Because I can almost guarantee you one thing, Michele, he's starting match day one. Lautaro suspended, Sanchez is injured, Lukaku's gone. Eden Dzeko's lining up match day one, bro.
Yeah, Sanchez is not even on my radar. I'm not even considering Sanchez really when I think about this coming season. He's been low impact for us, and certainly wasn't when he had to fill in for Lautaro or Lukaku last year. It wasn't always pretty. It rarely was. Dzeko makes me feel a lot better. You know, like I said earlier, if we had a different financial situation at the club, and we were not just keeping Lukaku and Hakimi, but actually adding players, bringing in somebody like Dzeko would have been, I think, the piece that really put us over the top. You know, not just in to continue putting us over the top in Italy, but to push us further along in the Champions League. Dzeko puts the ball in the net. That's what he does. Like I said earlier, he's not a flashy player. He's not the guy that everybody's going to be talking about, you know, week in, week out, you know, certainly outside of Italy. But he's very, very efficient with the ball. When he gets the ball at his feet in a dangerous areas, he knows what to do with it. He knows how to punish. And he's certainly punished us before. His experience in Serie A, I think, is going to be really important as we replace Lukaku. You know, when you bring out Lautaro and players like Lautaro and a player like Correa, they still have things to prove, right? When they miss a golden opportunity, these young players often get in their own heads and have a tough time getting out of sort of a negative mentality, and you just see it through their body language on the pitch. Dzeko isn't going to be fazed by any of that. He has the experience. He knows what he's doing. He's seen it all. And in terms of filling the massive hole, again, he's not going to score 24 goals. Those goals are going to have to be filled in from more than Lautaro, from more than Dzeko. It's going to have to be, you know, there's going to have to be more goal scorers on this team in the coming season. But Dzeko certainly makes me feel a lot better.
Yeah, well said, bro. The other couple of names that have come in from Mo, and something that's been mentioned in the media was Moise Kean from Everton. Gee, it's hard to keep up where that guy is in his career. But he's back at Everton now, isn't he? Not at Paris. I think his salary is 2.7 million. If he keeps getting bounced around like this, bro, I'm still inclined to believe that his attitude's not all there. And without a Conte at the helm to kick him up the arse, I don't think we're looking for those sort of players at the moment, bro. He's got a lot of potential on the pitch. Moise Kean just screams Mauro Icardi to me, bro, to be honest, man. For me, I don't want Moise Kean, man. And until he can go somewhere, consistently score, and have a manager come out and go, we love this guy, we want to sign him to a long-term contract. How many managers has he played for now? I have not heard one manager come out and say we want to re-sign him to a long-term contract. He dips and dives, bro. What are your thoughts on him?
Red flag. And I think the really important thing here, like I just mentioned, is to try and bring in players that you know what you're getting. Dzeko is certainly a player that you know what you're getting. Moise Kean, you don't know what you're getting. And with extremely limited funds to use on the transfer market, I don't know that that's a gamble that you can take at this point. I'm not sure what kind of figures have been thrown around in terms of a Moise Kean transfer, but I imagine that they would eat up most, if not all, of the remaining funds that we have available to use during the rest of the Mercato. but it's certainly not an investment that I would want to make right now. It's far too risky. It's far too much of an unknown quantity. I think you've got to try and go for, not necessarily the safe bet, but really, moving in a direction where you have a much better sense of what you're going to be getting out of the player, not just in terms of output, but in terms of the input that they're going to put in day out during training and on match day.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I'd be worried about is if Harry Kane gets sold from Spurs to Man City and then they come back with like an 85 mil offer for Lautaro. But also, there's also something telling me that Lautaro would rather go to Valencia or Villarreal or to Sevilla than go to bloody Tottenham, bro. I have no idea why you'd want to go there from Inter, man, especially if you've got no socio-cultural ties to the city whatsoever. What are your thoughts on that? And also, let's digress into a little bit of Romelu Lukaku talk. Bit weird that he hasn't come out and said anything to us fans. Yeah, right. It's he could have really handled this one a bit better. I can already tell in all the chats I'm a part of, people are starting to get dirty. But then people are also, telling us all to stop having a whinge. Me personally, I've already started to forget about it. But it would have been nice for him to come out and acknowledge the fans of a club that he's a big part as to why we've won the Scudetto. But we were champions. We are champions. So I just felt like he will acknowledge eventually, but it's a bit late at the moment.
So a couple of things. I think the situation in terms of our forwards is the same as the wingers that I mentioned earlier. The individual quality, of course, is going to be less with whoever replaces Lukaku and whoever replaces Hakimi. Having said that, there's going to be greater depth, both on the wings and up top, because when Lautaro or Lukaku had to be subbed, that was Alexis Sanchez coming on, or that was Pinamonti coming on. Both had really tough seasons. Alexis struggled through injuries for much of it. So really, Inter was working with two usable strikers last year. If we have Lautaro, Dzeko, and one other guy, we already have a much deeper well of forwards to draw on as the season as the season goes on. In terms of a Lautaro transfer, again, I think having Zanetti as vice president of the club is invaluable when it comes to the Argentinian connection. The reason we got Lautaro to begin with was because we got him from Racing, where Milito is running things. So that Argentinian connection worked out for us in 2010, and it worked out for us again when we got Lautaro. I think Lautaro stays. I think Zanetti can really impress upon him the opportunity that he has to become a legendary Inter. He's still really young, guys. So Lautaro could stay, could be a top performer at Inter for the better part of the next decade. I think that's an opportunity if we manage to give him the salary that he deserves, because of what he can do on the pitch, because of the potential that he has. If we can give him the salary that he deserves and keep and lock him up for a long time, I don't think Lautaro has any incentive to go anywhere else. I think a lot of clubs in the Premier League get a lot of attention just because the Premier League gets a lot of media attention, but it's unclear to me what some of the clubs that are bidding on Lautaro right now could really offer that's better than Inter, who is the defending Serie A champion, who is going to be drawn into the Champions League in this coming year, in the top echelon of clubs, and that is going for a historic second star.
Yeah, well said, my bro. Well said, guys. Big up to everybody in the chat. The comments about Kane are flying through, and I'm not going to put them up because everyone's pretty much agreeing. Bang average, ruins the dressing room, barely above average, only on a loan. Basically, ruined the Euro under 21s with Zaniolo, and because of that, will not play for the senior team ever again. It sounds like something that we don't, but that doesn't surprise me. Ragazzo Italiano does not surprise me one bit. Anyway, I think only a Liverpool could get Martinez away from Inter. A bigger club than us at the moment, bro. And Tottenham are not a bigger club than us at the moment, man. They're an absolute shambles, to be honest. And I think that Marotta'S is going to have a very tough time conducting healthy business under Daniel Levy over there. Michele, that's where we're pretty much going to wrap up today's session on Inter Worldwide, man. It's been an absolute pleasure. Was there anything in particular that you wanted to talk about or discuss Inter-wise before we wrap up this session, man?
No, man. Forza Inter, Amala, always. As any fan of this club knows, we've gone through we've been in darker times than today. That's for sure. Just go back and look at some of the lineups that we trotted out around 2014, 2015. The losses of the summer are tough. But the jersey stays the same. I was going to say the crest stays the same, but it's actually changing this year. But the Inter is always going to be, despite some dips, is going to be at the top of Serie A, at the top of Europe. Let's not forget, this is a club that is defending the Serie A title with the Scudetto on their chest next year. We are the club to beat, no doubt about it. Inter is the club to beat in the 2021-2022 Serie A. And I think that this is a club that can take that next step in the Champions League.
Well said, brother. Thank you to everyone for joining us. There are 42 people here still right now. Don't go anywhere. Stay here because you need to do me one favor. You need to do me one solid before you go. I need you guys to keep an eye on the right-hand side of the screen while we plug again our new platform. There's a couple of things I wanted to ask Michele while he goes through them. All of you guys are going to do a favor right now. You 41 or 42 people that are here, you're going to head over to the Football Worldwide YouTube page. It looks very nice and trim, and you're going to give us a nice subscribe and like our videos because the journey is only just beginning. So everybody right now, while you're listening to Michele's answers, head over to the Football Worldwide YouTube and make sure you like and subscribe so that you can see more of better looking people than me, such as these two gentlemen right here. Michele, who's your favorite Inter player of all time?
My favorite Inter player of all time, it's kind of a cop-out, but it's got to be Zanetti. I mean, that guy has been a part of Inter my entire life. And there's no doubt that that's got to be the answer.
Very, very well said, bro. Favorite Inter memory or, favorite victory, favorite trophy that we've won? Give us a couple.
So I have to admit that on the 22nd of May, 2010, I was in Madrid and I was at the Santiago Bernabeu.
Wow.
And that was certainly the highlight of my Inter fandom and certainly a highlight of my life, quite frankly. I'll tell you, walking into that stadium that day, I had no doubt that we were going to win. Being an Inter fan is to live a life of doubt and second guessing. I had no doubt that we were going to win that day.
100%, bro. I had no doubt we were going to win to the point where I fell asleep on the couch when I woke up because I was going through my end of year HSEs, like when you finish high school in Australia, end of year exams. I had my English exam like the next day and I woke up and I was exhausted and I was just like, you know what, man, I'm just going to go watch it on the couch. And within 25 minutes, bro, I think I was asleep. I heard Milito score the first goal. And the last thing I remember is my dad waking me up going, hey, mate, you've just won the Champions League. And I'm in such an arrogant, oblivious kid thing to say. I looked up, I'm like, yeah, I know. I just went back to sleep and then obviously watched the replay, I think, for the next maybe 30 hours of my life after that and every other time since then. Anything else, my friend? Any other amazing memories?
The last Inter game that I went to was right before the pandemic hit, was the derby where we were losing 2-0 at halftime and scored 4 goals in the second half. It was incredible, and my dad, to his credit, we only managed to find seats in different sections, but we could still see each other. And at halftime, he looks over at me and he goes, he called out the final score and we won. The other real highlight game that I've been to recently was the first came back in the Champions League against Tottenham. Another comeback victory where Eriksen put Tottenham ahead 1-0, and then we scored 2 goals there in the last 5 minutes of the game. Mauro Icardi off of an incredible Asamoah cross, and then Vecino heading it in again after he had headed in the last game of the prior season to put us back in the Champions League after I forget how many years. But it's never predictable being an Inter fan. It's never going to be boring. I'll tell you that much. And I think again this year is not going to be a boring affair. And I think we actually have a lot of positive things to look at, and a lot of and personally, I have high hopes for a repeat in Serie A and a deep run in the Champions League.
Yeah, well said, man. There's a couple of people in the chat that did put another topic in there, so we'll finish off with this. Top 4 predictions, bro. If the Mercato was to end today, what would your top 4 predictions be? I know it's tough.
Top 4 predictions for the Mercato.
Well, like if the Mercato ended today, who would be your top 4 for next season?
So top 4 predictions for the rest of this Mercato?
No. As if the Mercato ended today, who do you think would finish top 4 next season?
Top 4 in Serie A. Inter wins the Scudetto and gets the 2nd star. Atalanta comes in 2nd. Juventus comes in 3rd. And Milan comes in 4th. Inter, Atalanta, Juve, Milan.
Very, very well said, bro. Guys, for everybody that's still here, for the 37 that hung around, thank you. You have made this a very, very enjoyable start to my Friday. It has been fantastic. And Michele, it has been an absolute pleasure to welcome you onto the channel. First of many, many, many times these people are going to see your face. So thank you again, brother.
Forza Inter.
Forza Inter, Forza Italia, campione d'Europa. Ciao ragazzi.